How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is PSReady, my channel all about PlayStation. It is Black Friday week. I have two videos this week that will cover a bunch of Black Friday deals. So if you want to get the lowest prices on everything from PlayStation, make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications set to all. In today's video, I've got three topics to cover. The first one, you know I'm excited about it. The PS5 Handheld has been confirmed. Second on the list, I'm also excited about this new line of accessories. And third, let's cover those Black Friday deals I've been mentioning. This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. If you've watched either of my channels, PSReady or DeckReady, you know about FlexiSpot because they are longtime sponsors of both channels. I love the standing desks they've sent over. The one I have upstairs is perfect for miniature painting. It completely transformed my workspace. I can lean on it because it has 540 pounds of static capacity, and no matter what height I want to use it at, it works great because of the 3-stage leg design. And the 4-legged design provides rock solid stability. It's compatible with any desk accessory you throw at it. The keypad has a USB charger, which is awesome, and there's a 15-year warranty, so you can feel good about your purchase. They're running a ton of promotions for Black Friday right now that include their pet grooming vacuum, which they sent over, and it's great. And the promotions also include their 2-in-1 walking pad, which I cannot wait to use. FlexiSpot provides all kinds of standing desks and ergonomic chairs to fit your demands. If you're looking for a premium experience, it's easy to recommend the E7 Pro, but if you're looking for an even more sturdy experience, I recommend the E7 Plus with its 4-legged design. They also have comfortable ergonomic chairs with flexible adjustments for your back. Use my promo code PSReady50 for $50 off their premium desks. Huge shout out once again to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. All right, let's jump into this first news story here. You guys know I'm excited about this. The PS5 Handheld is real. This is coming from Bloomberg. Jason Schreier over there, he's got some ironclad sources within Sony, within Blizzard, within Microsoft. Everyone in the industry loves talking to him, and this time he set his sights on Sony to reveal their plans for this upcoming handheld. So the biggest thing he confirmed is what I have been crossing my fingers for. If you've been watching videos here on the channel, every time I talk about this rumored handheld, all I want is that it, like, you know, is a portable PS5. Like, you can take your actual PS5 games on the go, your saves will transfer, your trophies will transfer. You only have to buy the game once because you're taking it onto a different device, but it's the same game. That's exactly what I wanted, and according to Jason Schreier, that is the goal for the PS5 handheld. Now, the interesting thing is, they also note in this article that the PS Portal did not start out its plans as a streaming device. You know, it ended up as one where it's a split in half DualSense that's surrounding a 1080p screen, but you can't play games natively on it. You have to stream them from your PS5, or if you have PS Plus premium subscriptions, you can stream them directly from the cloud. And a couple of my friends who have Portals have been telling me about the experience over the weekend, and like I predicted, it is not great. But the initial plan for this device, again, was to make it an actual PlayStation handheld that was not going to be like the Vita, where games were going to be specifically developed for it. It was going to be a handheld that you could actually take PS5 games on the go. And it's easy to figure out why it eventually transitioned into just a streaming device. There's a lot of, like, I hate using this word, but misinformation out there about how powerful the chips that you can use in these handhelds are. I saw the Fox tweet about this, saying that, like, if they want to make a PS5 handheld, they're going to have to wait a while because they're going to have to wait for a chip that's powerful enough to be crammed down into a handheld chassis. I saw people arguing with him, saying that PS5 games are playable on the Steam Deck, so the technology is already there. And they are playable. You can play next-gen games like Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut, The Last of Us Part 1 Remastered. Like any PS5 game that you throw at it, you're generally going to be able to play it. But once you actually play these games and you get past the games that are just remastered PS4 games, you quickly see that these handhelds can't actually run them to the level that makes the games playable. The latest example being Stalker 2. If you watch the Digital Foundry videos on this, the performance is incredibly rough, whether you have like a high-end gaming rig like I do, or you have an Xbox Series X. The performance mode on console is just borderline unusable. It's upscaling from less than 720p, trying to hit 4K. When you walk into the town, it's so CPU limited that there's a 6-second pause in the game while it can load everything in. And on the Steam Deck, it's 1,000 times worse because because the chip just isn't strong enough to actually run these games. So even though the games can run on these handhelds, we're talking about a console that is being made to kind of chip away at the stronghold that Nintendo has over the handheld market. You can't have a device that can barely run these games. Like, the bar that you have to like clear is not playing these games, it's playing them at an acceptable level. So 30 FPS minimum, and with a decent resolution like 720p 800p on a native screen. I don't think we're going to be getting 1080p or, God forbid, 4K resolution screens, and if we do, I honestly think that would be a detriment to a handheld like this, because I have a couple. I have the Steam Deck, I have the ROG Ally X. The Ally X I think has like a 1200p screen, and you never use it. You never run that thing in 1200p outside of indie games like Conscript or something like that, because it just can't handle it. You use 900p and then you upscale it with Radeon integrated scaling or integer scaling or whatever, and then you're scaling up to 1200p and it looks fine. But at the end of the day, I prefer the Steam Deck because I'm playing games at 800p on an 800p screen, and even though the resolution is less overall, it's a lot clearer of an image because you're not upscaling anything. And if they want to put a 1080p or 1280p size screen in a handheld, get ready to upscale the shit out of your games and play them at sub 30 FPS. So if you want to make a handheld that's going to compete with the Nintendo Switch, it needs to be powerful enough to run these games at their performance graphics preset at the quality frame rate preset. So it's going to be like taking a PS4 Pro on the go versus an actual PS5, and the chips just aren't there yet. There have been tons and tons of rumors lately about a Steam Deck 2, and Valve comes out immediately and dispels those rumors. They say, yeah, there is a Steam Deck 2. It will happen eventually, but it's going to be years off because we literally cannot make one that has good battery life right now. We could take the latest Ryzen chip and punch it down into a handheld, but then you'd get like 30 seconds of battery life out of this thing, because if you put that chip in there, it's going to need a lot of power, and if you're playing in a handheld, you need a massive battery, so it's either going to be 6 inches thick or it's going to have 30 minutes of battery life, and they don't want to do that. The same rules that they're playing by with the Steam Deck are the exact same rules that Sony is playing by with this eventual handheld, which is why when this thing happens, it's going to happen in a matter of years. Like, this is not coming out next year, it's not coming out in the next 2 years. We know that the rumors are that the chip they're working on for the PS6 right now with AMD, they're working on 2 SKUs of it. One is they're the same chip, right? Like, one is made for a console, one is made for a handheld. So they're going to be running kind of the same, but one is going to be like the Xbox Series X equivalent, but instead of being in a $350 home console, it's going to be in a handheld, which is why this thing is a little bit of a ways off, but that's fine. I want a handheld that can support PlayStation 5 games natively, but will be able to run them and have at least an hour and a half to 2.5 hours of battery life, because asking for more than that, you're going to get a thick ass console. Like, it's not going to be as nice and sleek as the PlayStation Portal. It's not going to be anywhere close to that if you want like 3 to 4 hours of battery life with the power that they need to cram down into a handheld sized chassis. And it's kind of not for me as the PlayStation Portal sounds. I got to give it the biggest thank you of all, because the thing that kind of pushed Sony over the edge, according to this Bloomberg article, is how popular the PlayStation Portal is. Like, Sony put out a device that isn't exactly what people want, right? Like, it's cool that you can stream your games from your console on the same network with pretty decent quality and a little bit of latency, and they continue to improve it every few months or so, which is awesome. But a lot of people are compromising, right? Like, they're saying, well, I'd love a handheld that could play PS5 games. This one's only a couple $100 and it can do a good enough job in the meantime. So this thing sold way better than Sony initially expected it to, and it continues to the point where they're even going to end up producing more of the 30th anniversary portals just to meet demand, because there was so high of a demand for it. People really want a handheld that can play PS5 games, and that was enough to convince Sony to actually make it. So yeah, I don't love the Portal. I have better devices like the Steam Deck OLED that can do the exact same thing with the added benefit of being able to play my Steam games natively whenever I want. So there's really no reason for me to pick up a Portal, but it is the reason that Sony was convinced to make this handheld in the first place. So I'm glad it exists at the end of the day. And another cool thing about the PlayStation Portal is that it provides the perfect template for what they should build off of for the PlayStation handheld that they're working on right now, right? Like, bring in those DualSense features like haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. Keep that really cool sort of angular look on the sides of the controllers. I know, like, conventional wisdom with a handheld is you want it to be as small as possible, but the Steam Deck is a pretty big handheld. It comes with a case, and I've never had an issue just throwing it in my backpack to take to the coffee shop when I write videos. I've never had a problem throwing it in my backpack to take it on a plane, and the PlayStation Portal looks awesome, right? Like, it's cool seeing the DualSense essentially split in half with a big fat screen right in the middle. I'm fine with them making it a little bit bigger if that's going to provide better battery life and better performance at the end of the day, and allow them to cram in all of those awesome features that they've included this generation with the DualSense, because if this thing is going to play PS5 games, they need to bring forward all of those controller features to make them as seamless as possible when you're playing them on a handheld. As for their goal to kind of chip away at Nintendo's handheld supremacy, I'm fine with that. I really like the Nintendo Switch for the similar reasons, I would say, to what people like the Portal for. It was just cool having a home console that you could then take the same games on the go. Nintendo was the first one to really do that. The Vita got close by having games like Killzone Mercenary or Uncharted Golden Abyss and a bunch of HD remasters of PS2 games ported over from the PlayStation 3, but the next step in the chain, the Nintendo Switch, being like, you can take Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen on the road. You can take Mario Galaxy on the road. That was really cool. I just would love to be able to do that with the games I actually enjoy playing, which are first-party PlayStation games. Like, within 2 years of the Switch coming out, most of my library was built up with 360 and PS3 era games that got ports that were more action-oriented and more adult-oriented, because it was kind of like a new successor to the PlayStation Vita that did what I wanted the Vita to do in the first place. I just got it from Nintendo and not Sony. So thinking down that kind of path, I would be so excited to be able to finally have a handheld again that can just play the games I already own, also give me trophies, also give me my saves. I can just buy everything on PlayStation and be totally good. I can get my handheld fix from PlayStation, I can get my home console fix from PlayStation, and in the rare case that I double dip on a PC game, even if I can't transfer my saves, at the very least, I'm unlocking trophies when I play games like Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut or God of War Ragnarok. So I feel like they have all their bases covered, and I think they do, for the first time in history, have a decent shot at kind of chipping away at that supremacy in the handheld realm that Nintendo has. Because while the Steam Deck is awesome, I love it, I have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to it, it's not punching in the same realm as the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is a 100 million plus selling console, and the Steam Deck is selling worse than the PlayStation Vita. Now, it doesn't matter because Valve's whole goal with the Steam Deck is to make something they can sell at a subsidized rate and then have like you buy Steam games to play on it where they'll make their money back, so it's doing fine for what it is. But from PlayStation's perspective, if they're making a handheld PS5, it's got to sell well, and the best way to make that happen, of course, is to make it be able to take the games you already own on the go. But that brings me to the second news story here, which is good and bad just based on the timing. I'll explain in a second. This one's coming from Bilbo Kun, who I talk about a lot on the channel because this guy has a literal perfect track record with leaking Sony hardware. And this latest leak is that we're finally getting black versions of stuff like the DualSense Edge, the Pulse Elite, and Pulse Explorer. I don't care about the Pulse Explorer. That is the biggest waste of money I have ever experienced during this PlayStation generation, but I love my Pulse Elite, and you guys know I love my DualSense Edge. So the problem with the timing is I just bought the 30th anniversary edition DualSense Edge. I was like, I need that PS1 colorway. So yeah, while I've been begging them to make the black DualSense Edge, I don't have another $200 in me for a controller. I've got 3 PS5s, 2 of them are hooked up. I got my regular DualSense Edge upstairs, it's still working fine. I got my new 30th anniversary one down here on my PC and my other PS5, and it's also working fine. But man, if this had come out just a little bit sooner, I probably would have gotten this instead of the 30th anniversary one. I love all my tech being black, and it's just gonna look so good with everything blacked out on the DualSense Edge, you know? Anyway, that brings me to the Black Friday deals section of this video. This one is heavily focused on games because I went through Best Buy and Amazon and found some great physical deals. Like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of these because a lot of these games I have digitally, but I want to double dip and get them physically for my little shelf down there. There's some great stuff on sale for great prices. Finally, the PS5 game prices are falling to acceptable levels. First up, Silent Hill 2 is already on sale for $50, so that's a full $20 off of the asking price. This is at Best Buy and it's on Amazon, but Amazon was out of stock when I checked. This game is definitely worth 50 bucks. I am increasingly disappointed with the performance across both the PS5, PS5 Pro, and PC, but if you have a PS5 Pro, the quality mode is good. Like, you can play it at a rock solid 30 FPS with very minimal, if if any at all, stuttering, and it's just a great game at the end of the day. I hope that they kind of push out the patches, so it will get cheaper over time, but if you've been dying to play it, like you got some stuff cleared off your plate over the past month or so, and you're looking for a reason to play Silent Hill, $50 definitely worth it. Spider-Man 2 is at its cheapest price ever of $40, so if somehow you haven't played one of the best PS5 exclusives this gen, and especially if you got a PS5 Pro, this is a must buy just from the graphical presentation alone. Rise of the Ronin, one of the most underrated games of this year, I would say. A lot of people skipped it and a lot of people were sour on it from the comments, but like it's really good. I got it when it came out just to test it out and I had fun with it, and I was like, I'm shelving this for the Pro. That was a good decision because it runs great on there. It's a samurai game with guns and a ton of loot. I mean, what more could you ask for? Elden Ring is down to its cheapest price yet of $20 for the full PS5 version that comes with the PS4 version. If you've got a Pro, it runs Elden Ring great. If you've got a regular PS5, I would honestly say download the PS4 version, use your disc to check the license and play that because it's the most consistent version of the game. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, so Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy remastered for the PlayStation 5 is $20. The Uncharted 4, one of my favorite games of all time. I don't think Sony's made a game that I've loved that much since Uncharted 4. I beat it in one weekend and it was phenomenal. So for $20, if you don't own it already, like you didn't want to upgrade it because you own digital versions of Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy already, $20 is so worth it. And over at PlayStation Direct, it's still in stock. The 19 inches of Venom Spider-Man 2 Collector's Edition is $150, so you're basically paying full price for the game, and then, you know, you're getting that awesome statue for an extra $70. If you're into Spider-Man, these statues are incredible. I saw one in real life at a comic shop and I was like, oh, the days of crappy statues coming with collector's editions are over. And then finally, the Arcane Collection is $38. This is also at Best Buy. All of these are at Best Buy and Amazon. So if you see one out of stock at Amazon, you can also get it at Best Buy. $38 for Prey, Mooncrash, Dishonored Remastered, Dishonored 2, and Death of the Outsider. That's just like so good of a value that you'd be stupid to pass it up if you don't own any of those games. But yeah, that's all I saw for now. I'll be updating this list later in the week with my second video, so make sure you're subscribed with your notifications set to all. As always, guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.